Roman Catholic Archbishop is standing firm against laws promoting gay rights, but he also says the church does not promote discrimination against the gay community. Meanwhile, the chairman of Aspire, attorney Lynette Sweet, says the Equal Opportunities Act is insufficient because it does not protect against the discrimination of people with different sexual orientations. Melissa Dasrath has more in this report.
The church and the LGBT community have historically been on opposite sides of the argument about gay rights. CNews will explore the debate over amending the Constitution to include equal rights for all, regardless of sexual orientation or lifestyle. The times are changing, and is it time the legislation changed too, to embrace a more liberal perspective and eliminate discrimination? The voice of Rania Sigobin, a young gay man, rang out in the public consultation on constitutional reform when he made a plea for gay rights to be on the agenda and the legislation to be amended. Lynette Sweet, head of Advocates of Safe Parenthood, Improving Reproductive Equity, said the Constitution already has provisions for equality and protection before the law, regardless of sex, which could be interpreted to include sexual identity or sexual preference as a fundamental right. So Ms. Sweet does not believe the Constitution needs to be changed, but she said the Equal Opportunities Act of 2000 does not prohibit discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation.
But it does not include a right not to be discriminated against on the basis of sexual orientation. So whilst there is this legislation which actually gives effect to the constitutional provisions and provides a remedy as between citizen and citizen to guarantee rights of non-discrimination, that legislation does not cover or does not sanction discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. And that, in my view, and in the view of my organization, Aspire, needs to change.
The attorney at law blames backward forces in society for the law not being progressive enough to include non-discrimination of gays, lesbians, bisexual, transgender, and the emerging group who question their sexuality. Ms. Sweet said certain criminal laws that make homosexual acts an offense ought to be revised.
Those are the offenses, criminal offenses, which criminalize acts of lovemaking between consenting adult males.
Catholic Archbishop Joseph Harris said homosexuality is contrary to natural law, and he was adamant that the natural law is absolute and supersedes the law of the land.
If the government decided that they were going to make that into law, I would object most strenuously, and I think all the Christian churches would object very strenuously to same-sex marriage becoming law.
While the church has a rigid position on gay rights, Archbishop Harris said they will never condone discrimination.
I recommend that you treat every person as a brother or sister or a friend. That the fact that someone may have an orientation different to yours does not make them bad, doesn't make them evil, doesn't make them a criminal in any sense.
Whether or not gay rights advocacy is a direct threat to the church's definition of love and marriage as being between a man and a woman, groups like CAISO and the Silver Lining Foundation continue to raise awareness and mobilize support to fight against homophobia. Melissa Dasrath, CNews.